Hello, we are
Hello.
live.
Yes, we are.
Uh,
Hello, hello.
yeah. So today, aliens, UFOs,
Aliens.
guy
Those are always
who
fun.
supposedly leaked everything.
Yeah, from what I'd heard, which was not much before I was completely roped in, was he worked for the Navy or is it the Air Force? I don't know. But the government has a non-human origin spacecraft or some sort of aircraft, really. Sounds like a UFO, and it sounds like you know what? They're keeping secrets from us, which is astonishing.
Now, before we hop into this, what are your thoughts in general? Aliens, beliefs, not believe, so on.
They're there. They've always been there. We don't see them because we're sheltered and shielded from it. Because I guess people would take it the wrong way and there'd be violence. But I think that, I mean, the government has so many different agendas with this kind of thing. I think it's probably so they can have the secrets first, whatever it is, and they need to not do that because I want the secrets.
But how would the
Yeah.
government hide aliens? If they're out there, they're just floating around, UFOs and all.
Yeah. But people have seen things again with the Mothman, that whole thing. Like things slip through the cracks. This one just happened to way later, and we don't have a being. We have some sort of craft.
Um,
Get closer to the mic. What? All right,
what?
sorry.
Um,
I don't. Okay, I think I'm fine.
But yeah, like I can see Mothman slipping through the cracks, West
Mhm.
Virginia woods, all that. But
Yeah.
UFOs in the sky, that's a pretty big crack,
Yeah, but
you would see like a
you
lot
don't
more
know where
coming
they
through.
found it or when. Yeah, but you don't know where or when they found it, right? So it could have been a long time ago, somewhere else, somewhere way far out in who knows where, and they could have just snapped it up. There are many possibilities.
Yeah, but I'm saying if there's like a shit ton of UFOs out there, you'll be seeing them a lot more.
There have to be. Okay, but do you know how many sightings there are a year? There's an official website for like extraterrestrial alien sightings and UFO sightings. My mom used to visit it a lot, and we would just um, look at the places that they'd been seen.
Yeah,
And it's really interesting
that's my point. If there's so many sightings, why don't we know for a certainty yet?
because it's being hidden.
But that's a pretty big conspiracy.
The truth. Okay. All right. Okay. So what about you? What do you believe?
Nothing.
I'm
Absolutely
really
nothing.
That's not true.
No, I think
That's not true.
It's plausible. It would be interesting, alien life and all
You
that.
don't think there's alien life?
I believe in alien life. But here,
Okay.
alien life being here is the big thing. Is it here? And I just don't think so. I feel like we would have a more definitive revelation that aliens are here.
Well, my point last time about no Bigfoot, where you were like, oh, he's an interdimensional being, but he is, and they could have this access too. They can have ways of keeping these things quiet. They're not us. Yeah, they're not us. They'd probably have different ways of doing things, and it's probably a lot smarter, and they're a lot more quiet, I bet.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I do believe there is some sort of alien life out there. Space is huge and all that, but here it is
Yeah.
kind of like a speck of dust in the universe, and they happen to be
Well,
here.
yeah. Well, okay. So what about this? What if they've been here the whole time, but they've been in the ocean or in the Mammoth Cave system in Kentucky, which hasn't been fully explored. There are plenty of other caverns and cave systems that never been fully explored.
I thought you were going in the direction we are the aliens, like they've been here the whole time.
No, they could have been here for thousands of years, and we, yeah, they're just good at hiding.
Found something alien related.
Would we have, or somebody keep it from us? Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's entirely possible. Entirely. Yeah, and I love it.
Well, my idea is that if there was something alien-like here, people would have found it and revealed something about it.
Well, so this guy found something and revealed something about it, right?
Yeah, this guy
so
is...
how's that?
This guy, yeah. but in general, we don't have like a globalist government like throughout the years that could hide this.
No. But you've got all these major governments that are intent on keeping these secrets for themselves, for their own government, and for their own purposes, right?
I'm talking about like the last like 2,000-3,000 years, you know, like government was very decentralized.
I can't really explain that. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe the statements or whatever where those things were found and like the stories about them, maybe they were lost or hidden a long time ago on purpose. You know?
Oh yeah, buried right into the pyramids and stuff like that. You know.
That's a whole different subject. The pyramids. Oh my God, they're fascinating. We'll have to do one on that.
God, no.
I'm serious. There's some weird shit about the pyramids that you're just gonna be like, holy shit.
Can the pyramids travel through different dimensions too?
No. Nope. There's something else going on with them that suggests many different things about, you know, what was here before us, what was here with us that isn't here anymore, or is hiding, whatever, you know.
Well, I think in the end, if I think there are aliens, but they're not here. I feel like we would have noticed on a more wider scope than just on such a small scope that they can be hidden by like a small government, you know.
Okay.
But apparently, this guy saw alien stuff. His name is David Grusch. He worked for the government. Military specifically.
Oh yeah, David Grusch. Okay.
And he apparently he saw some shit, and this is like a whole interview with him. So we get all his credentials, his history, past, and we get to see what he has to say.
Let's do it. This is a more chill style listening stream, so
live react.
Been a long week for both of us. Yeah.
Television interview. Welcome. Have a seat. Maybe start off telling me your name and who you are.
My name is David Grusch. You know, I came from a blue-collar family in Pittsburgh. I didn't have the money for college. Always admired people in uniform, and I've always wanted to be a part of something.
Oh, no audio?
They said no audio. Okay.
Audio trouble already?
Hold on. ALT style stream.
ALT.
Whoa, done. It seems my family's watching something loud. 1 second.
Oh, okay. It's just low. Okay.
Something bigger than myself, you know.
Okay, yeah, audio. It's just very low. There is audio.
Okay.
18 years ago, you know, I got an Air Force
and tell us,
scholarship
I guess,
for physics.
tell if this is
I
okay.
originally commissioned on active duty in the Air Force. Served 14 years in the Air Force.
I look at this photograph, Dave, and I see a very proud officer.
I was getting promoted to captain when I was deployed.
And you still love your country, don't you?
Absolutely.
A career intelligence officer, Grusch spent time on the ground in Afghanistan and other places he can't mention before rotating back to Washington.
I was an intel officer for the U.S. for 14 years. My last position, which I left in April of 2023, I co-led the UAP portfolio for the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and some of the highest officials within the Department of Defense and Intelligence community used to call on me to advise them on some of the hardest target sets that the country had.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the US defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
And he says the most earth-shattering of those secrets were revealed after 2019, when he was invited to join the UAP task force.
You had the security classifications to go.
Okay.
What is the, hold on, what's the UAP?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he was
UAP task force.
Apparently, he's with Intel. He's captain in the Air Force. That's decently ranked in there. And what, nearly 15 years?
Yeah.
Is quite a bit to throw away.
And I don't think he did it for no reason. So the UAP task force, the Establishment of Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Okay, this is not like a short summary. That sucks. Department of Defense established the UAPTF to improve its understanding of and gain insight into the nature and origins of UAPs, which is what they're calling them now instead of UFOs. Interesting. The mission of this task force is to detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to the U.S. national security.
UFOs just have
DoD
bad
has
branding
stated,
now. Like they can't do that anymore.
Probably. As DoD has stated previously, the safety of our personnel and the security of our operations are of paramount concern. The Department of Defense and the military departments take on any incursions by unauthorized aircraft into our training ranges or designated airspace very seriously and examine each report. This includes examinations of incursions that are initially reported as UAP when the observer cannot immediately identify what he or she is observing.
So basically, they just catalog UFOs essentially, and try to identify.
Yeah, and I think they try to identify if it's threat or anything. Which, oh my god, that's their first take, and it reminds me again.
Yeah, that has to be the
Arrival.
first take, because what if it's or an aircraft? Like it's an enemy combatant.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine, but I feel like you'd be able to tell something from Earth over something that's clearly not from our own technology first.
Well, maybe if you're seeing it like in person versus like seeing it on like a radar blip or something.
Yeah, true. Okay.
No, it makes sense to me that it can be confusing. Because I doubt they are flying out there themselves and following this random aircraft,
Well, have you seen the stuff that the Navy had gotten video of? Some of their pilots were actually, flying around and caught video of these things, and it's amazing. It's these crazy fast aircrafts that are not from here, and it happened to them over a period of years and years. And they finally let them out, the videos out like last year, I think. It's amazing.
We should do a whole segment on just UFO sightings like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
I would love that.
Yeah, no. Let's see. This guy overall has good credibility. Nearly 50 years in the Air Force, captain, decently ranked, intel connections.
Mm-hmm.
He's
and I think
it's very sketch. Like he's just coming out saying, "Hey, UFOs."
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's sketchy, but I had made the point that paranormal stuff often shows up to people who are on the liminal edges or are marginalized. But he was in there for the purposes of this. I think that's what sets this one apart.
It's almost
this is not one of those.
It's almost like a Men in Black coming out to tell the tale. It's almost like someone on the inside coming out to talk about what they've seen and heard while covering it up.
Yeah. It's crazy and it's so interesting. Like, if I would, if I could, I would work for these people and just learn all the secrets.
Is that going to be a common theme? Like in every episode?
I want it. I want it.
Indrid's just going to scream, "I want your secrets!" like every time.
Yeah, I want your secrets. Yeah. Give me your secrets. I will take payment in secrets. Not really. Anyway,
Indrid serves
let's move on
for secrets.
Yeah.
Anywhere
Can't
and
eat
ask
secrets.
anyone anything.
I had, based on my formal security clearance and multiple polygraphs, I had the ability to be read into any program that I needed. At one point in time, I was extremely highly cleared.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving
Crash retrieval.
non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin
Sweet.
vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft
Can you imagine?
from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No.
That's
I
so
thought it was
cool.
totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding.
Do you want to say something about that?
No, it's just awesome.
Like he's saying, we have from the sounds of it, like maybe dozens of aircraft from outer space.
And I believe it.
We are an
see
intergalactic
them.
junkyard, essentially.
That seems right. Yeah.
That's what he's making it out to sound like, essentially.
Yeah, or that we're an interesting planet that's kind of fun to come look at.
An interesting planet that they just happen to keep crashing on. We sound like a dump site for aliens.
Yeah, we're like the traveling. Well, we're the carnival that people come in, or beings come to look at and be like, bye. And then
reality
they
TV
accidentally
for the aliens.
Yeah, and then they accidentally hit a curb on their way out.
Oh. They
poor
Indrid
aliens.
cold themselves right into the planet.
Hey, no. We don't talk about that. No,
I
he's
think
not
immediately
dead.
they approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
You are alleging that the US government has been concealing the existence on this planet of alien life.
I would couch it as non-human intelligence,
Yes.
NHI, like we like to say in our language.
Why do you say that? Why do you say NHI?
I don't want to necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say, oh, they're coming from a certain location. And I couch it as somebody who studied physics where maybe they're coming from a different physical dimension as described in quantum mechanics. We know there's extra dimensions due to high energy particle collisions, et cetera. And there's a theoretical framework to explain that. Yeah.
Just let me cut to the quick though. You're saying there is an intelligent species engaging with this planet.
Yes, that's potentially extraterrestrial. Yeah.
Okay, so he's like saying he kind of agrees with your idea that they are popping into existence on our end,
Yeah, and it's entirely possible. I mean, there's a lot of scientists and physicists studying, all this quantum stuff that we either don't have the capacity or just the ability at all to understand. And other things could have the ability and they could use it in the way that they need to, or like in really cool ways.
Well,
that are really awesome.
When a spacefaring vessel ripping into our dimension cause some sort of disturbance that is detectable?
I don't think so. Not necessarily. I'm sure there are some instances where yes, that could happen, but obviously that's not happened yet. And from the beliefs that I have about what's going on with Bigfoot and a few other things, it's okay. What? It connects, all right? It just does. Yeah. It just applies. There are many things that it sounds nuts, but it is a kind of a sound theory when you look at some of the science and you start to think about it. I could see how they'd be using it.
Yeah, for me, it's like I feel like if they're like ripping into our dimension using some sort of technology.
I don't think it's ripping.
They're ripping and
You're
tearing.
saying ripping.
They're ripping and tearing into this dimension.
That sounds destructive, and I don't think it's in a destructive nature, clearly.
Okay.
So,
they're appearing in our dimension.
Yeah, I just think they have the ability to sort of jump here. I can't explain it because I don't know how to do it, but I sort of understand the concept a little bit. And the ways that I've been told or, read about it and heard, it just makes enough sense to me.
Okay. I'll take your word for it because I feel like we would notice something like that.
Nope, not necessarily. I don't get it.
Speak for everybody sitting at home. That is a shock.
It was to me. And I had a lot of sleepless nights.
Grusch says he's never personally seen non-human intelligence, but he's spoken to enough people directly involved in what he calls the program that he's convinced it's real.
Oh,
I
so
started
they
out as a
spoke to
non-believer.
him.
I came to the problem as a hardcore physics guy, intel officer. So I have a, excuse my language, high factor. I was very methodical, interviewing people who didn't know each other, making sure this wasn't some kind of cover-up of some other program.
He says he pressed to gain direct access to this program, and that's when his trouble started. Grusch claims his investigation was stymied, his requests for access rebuffed.
They shut the door in my face. They denied me access to these programs.
Soon after, he says, he endured reprisals and retaliation from
He
above.
had high clearance.
He then reported that information to the Intelligence Community Inspector General. That's why he's filed this whistleblower complaint. He says that experience is why he decided to go public here and in a recent article written by Leslie Kane in The Debrief. You're not being paid for this interview?
No, I'm not.
Why are you doing this?
It's a sense of service, call me a Boy Scout or whatever. It just, when I saw the kind of wrongdoing I did, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old in the future and have that, coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of feeling where I could have made a difference. I did not want to live a life of regret.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly,
He is throwing away a
we are
lot.
not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
You've said that the United States has spacecraft, intact craft.
We do.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species?
Well, naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed,
do we have
you
pictures?
encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
Have you seen space?
There. A lot of this is like surprising just to me. Like this guy is throwing away a lot, just to say, hey, there's aliens.
Because he felt like he was a part of something wrong and didn't think that people should be in the dark like they are. And I agree.
Well, shouldn't he?
Yeah,
shouldn't he keep his oath, his duty to keep it private, hidden, and all that?
Not if something feels morally wrong. I think that what he's doing is right.
The alien pilots are dead. No one cares. It's all good,
I care.
No, not enough. Not enough.
And then, someone in chat, you think they just let him talk because they will just deem him as crazy? I think that's definitely part of their thought process for sure. Like, who's gonna believe him anyway? Not everybody believes they're aliens, but they don't even know there's proof. What? Does he have pictures? No. So I think that letting him talk to make himself sound crazy is definitely plausible.
I think like the counterpoint is why don't they just kill him? And the thing is, if he doesn't have proof, killing him gives him validity,
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it gives him the appearance of validity, like he did know something, so they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. If you kill the whistleblower, then what are you hiding?
Exactly.
And it makes you look way worse.
Yeah, I give that like counterpoint. It's like that's why they don't kill him. If the guy doesn't have proof and he talks crazy, let him look for crazy. Otherwise, it makes him look like he's just killing him makes it look like he had something to actually reveal.
Yeah, I want to address this too. There was a supposed UFO. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It's always possible. It's just, I don't know. There's a lack of a few things. There was a UFO sighting or crash sighting allegedly in Texas, I think there was one in Las Vegas. I don't know. There's one specific one I'm thinking of where a cop was driving and he sees this like shooting star. Something came down from the sky, and then a citizen calls the cops from not too far away, and he comes over and he says that we've seen like a 10-foot tall creature in the yard, and he's like, well, can you describe it? And he goes, it was just big. So that one's weird to me, because if they saw something, you would notice the features, you would notice anything other than it's big. It just, I don't know. And well, I want to believe it. That felt weird. They didn't have anything to say. The cop seemed more freaked out that he had seen something fall from the sky. Oh, apparently there's Ring cameras. I'll have to look that up later. Thank you. But like stuff like that, I don't know. Way more details.
Yeah.
If you've seen something that was that fantastical.
We'll like have a whole episode just dedicated to like sightings and stuff. That would be fun.
Yeah. I wanted to say that. Okay. I'm good.
Yeah. No, I think there's like some validity to just like looking at a bunch of different like sightings and stuff, because there's some weird things out there, you know? Things that you can't explain. Things
are
you
there?
can.
I thought they weren't here. And they didn't happen.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying the UFO, just because something's weird isn't an alien.
What is it?
Well, that's why we're gonna watch it, you know?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but it's definitely not an alien just popping into existence, ripping and tearing into our dimension.
You don't know that? You don't know that.
I kind of do, though.
Ripping. Who do you work for? What the fuck? No.
It's not like fucking Mothman where they're all kind and stuff and they're just showing up to hang out.
They could be. You don't know. You don't know.
I do know.
None of us do.
Yeah. It's very easy to know when they don't exist. I'm sorry.
Oh no, man. All right, let's play the video.
Spacecraft.
I've seen some interesting photos and I've read some very interesting reports.
But he says the specific documents and photos that would prove his claims are still classified, and he cannot disclose them here.
Let's deal with the issue of your credibility. Why should we believe you? You're just somebody coming out of nowhere, making claims that we really ultimately can't prove.
Yeah. Well, we provided the proof internally to the Inspector General and the Hill staff, who went into all the details. I mean, I have the credentials. I was an intelligence officer on the UAP task force.
But let's face it, allegations of aliens and their spacecraft are hard to accept, even coming from a respected insider. Even if you call them NHI and UAP, how could such NHI travel to Earth in the first place and go undetected by the general public? Grusch says the craft may not be traveling through space as we understand it.
It is a well-established fact, at least mathematically and based on empirical observation and analysis, that there most likely are physical additional spatial dimensions. You can imagine in 4 and 5D space where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical dimension in higher dimensional space, where if you were living there, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow.
Door.
So there is a
They're not fucking
possibility
time travelers.
and this is a theory here. I'm not saying this is 100% the case. If you were living there, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow. So there is
This isn't far enough?
Yeah.
Go back further?
Linear flow. No, just listen. Yeah, just go. Go. Just listen. He's explaining it better than I could.
And this is a theory here. I'm not saying this is 100% the case, but it could be that this is not necessarily extraterrestrial, and it's actually coming from a higher dimensional physical space that might be co-located, right here.
What can you tell me about these craft, these technologies? Why do you know it's exotic?
Based on very specific properties.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's saying it's occupying different dimensions in space beyond our conception.
They could have the ability and the know-how to use these spaces like a door, and it's not necessarily ripping or tearing, it's just stepping in, and they know how to do it. I mean, it could happen.
Yeah, but if okay, let's say that's a theory. What we try to
it is.
Okay, let's say that's the theory. What we try to prove that theory is correct by having some way to detect it.
How would we have a way to detect it if we can't fully understand it yet ourselves?
Well, that's part of the theory. You would have to work it out.
It's a theory. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm just saying it's a very possible theory.
It's a very convincing one, yes.
Okay, you're being rude. And people are studying these things so that we maybe one day might have an understanding. If we don't ever get them, if we can't use them ourselves, it would still be cool to be able to understand it. Yeah. It's like how people in prehistoric times, you know, they thought that the stars in the sky were fires, like different fires that people had lit. Because it's there and you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not real.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. Is like, just because I don't understand it doesn't mean it's not real. What I'm saying is, why aren't we looking more into the idea of testing it? You know, if it's
there are people that are doing that. They're studying these things.
I guess that's the problem. It's like we don't hear about these things.
Probably because there's not been any huge breakthroughs. I mean, I've seen a bunch of videos about these scientists messing with I think it's it's quantum. I am not a scientist by any means, and I can't remember a lot of these words, but they're messing with these very, very tiny particles, and there's some crazy stuff that these things do. Like they can be at two places at once, and if you look at it, it doesn't do the thing that you want it to do. It's bizarre.
Well,
it's great.
I guess the part that's confusing me is that it's if we can't perceive the dimension, how are the sightings then? You know,
because then they've stepped into our dimension.
So then we should be able to detect them in some way.
If we don't have the technology or the understanding to detect how they're getting here,
they
may be
not
very, very likely hiding from us because they know that we'd flip out.
But they're sightings then.
Subatomic particles, yeah. People have seen aliens, man.
So there's a way of detecting them, you know?
You're making me think of like an EMF reader or something.
No. But I mean,
maybe there are. I don't know.
You see it like on cameras and stuff. So if there are sightings captured on camera, so we can't detect when or where they will appear. You know, like we can't detect how they're traveling or anything. But at some point, they just they pop out of that existence and pop into our existence. You know,
it's possible. It's possible. I can't say for sure yes, but this is something that makes sense to me, and I know that there are people studying it, and it just would explain a lot. And even if it's not necessarily right on the nose, I feel like it's close.
Yeah. No, there's like I love the idea of like wormholes is just basically puncturing space to make a shortcut. You know?
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
Or theories, but they could be fun. Like just to think about.
Oh, wormholes are fun. Yes.
No, like these theories are fun to like how to exceed the speed of light and all that. And it's fun to idea like that there's some sort of way to travel undetected and then just pop into our existence. Like, do you think like an alien is coming for a visit and they hit their hyperdrive and they fuck up and they end up in the middle of like the planet and crash in the center of the earth?
They could have taken a wrong turn. Not all human, or not all beings are perfect, of course. Wow.
Do you think they've visited the human moon or anything like that?
Probably the human moon. Yes. That is an interesting phrase. All right.
All
right.
It's the idea is interesting that
yeah.
That he can travel. I'm just curious. Look, what is being looked into, because it's easy to say interdimensional. Is there like a specific theory? Like, what is that dimension they're traveling through?
Well, I don't know because I don't.
Yeah. No,
I probably need to watch things about it.
It's more of a rhetorical thing for me. I'm not asking you directly. Like, I'm not asking you to be an encyclopedia of all alien knowledge.
Good.
It's more just like a rhetorical thing of what are the theories out there.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear some of them.
That was briefed on, isotopic ratios that would have to be engineered for it to be at those levels, but also just extremely strange, heavy atomic metal, high up in the periodic table arrangements that we don't understand what the emergent properties are, but there's just a very strange mix of elements.
So you're absolutely sure that the materials that these craft are made of are clearly not of this earth?
Yeah, they're sophisticatedly engineered, certainly not by humans.
And while Grusch says the US has gleaned some insight from these materials for military use, so much more could be done if academia and the private sector had access.
It's totally nuts that humanity as a whole, especially the U.S. citizenry as a whole, they're not even benefiting.
They're hiding a lot from science
from broad
too.
research on this to solve propulsion, energy issues, novel material science that can improve people's quality of life. It's just totally nuts how it's been protected and inhibits progress.
If you're right.
Isn't it a theory that Velcro is like something from Aliens?
Okay, no.
No,
No.
I swear I heard that before. Like it was like a really dumb theory.
Probably a joke. Oh,
Okay.
That had to be a joke. Oh my god. No. If we can make it, it's probably not done by alien life. Probably. I'm gonna assume.
I mean, we can reverse engineer it, if we get something of theirs.
Not if it's something that we can understand, like the dense materials and the things that aren't from Earth. We'd have to completely break it down, and it'd probably take a really long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's why
I guess it could be done.
We reverse engineered Velcro. Why can't we do it with other things?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Good thought.
No.
Very good.
No, but it's like if we do get like alien technology, like how would it be useful to us if we can't conceive it? So what
is another thing, like why they would be coming here. It could be to share it, to help, possibly. That's definitely a possibility, is that they want to help, and they're getting stopped because some people don't trust them, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, they could be trying to teach us, and we won't learn. And that's what we do.
I love the idea that they want to like help and share the technology with us, so they crash their shit into our planet.
I don't think they meant to.
So yeah, like they just send two alien pilots to their death to share technology with us.
I'm sure that wasn't planned. Okay. All right. That's not the plan.
No.
If you're telling us the truth,
David,
everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
Coming up, how long has this been going on?
A lot of
we
the
knew
things
that.
was briefed on were very shocking.
Why would the government lie to us?
1933 was the first recovery in Europe.
Man. It's
Magenta,
crazy.
Italy. They recovered a partially intact vehicle.
It's long been known that the regime of dictator Benito Mussolini documented numerous UAP during this time. This internal memo from the Italian secret services includes crude drawings of the UAPs. It's true. It's real.
That's pretty cool.
That actually happened. Italian government.
Yeah, it's really weird they have like the saucer design
base in Italy for the rest of kind of the fascist regime.
Yeah.
So
It'd be
1944,
really
1945, and the Pope Pius XII back-channeled that.
So the Vatican was involved.
Yeah, and told the Americans what the Italians had, and we ended up scooping it.
So let me be very clear about this. You're saying that the Catholic Church, the Vatican, they know about the existence of non-human intelligence on this planet?
Certainly.
Grusch says shortly after the
I wouldn't doubt it.
The Pope's involved. It's like the absurdity is like on the surface, but
What?
it's so absurd on the surface, but it's like when you think about it, they like locked up Galileo for saying the sun doesn't orbit the Earth. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like the Catholic Church does like cover up shit. They do have a history of this shit.
Yeah. If you're high up in a religion and you want people to conform to that religion, you're gonna keep anything from swaying people's minds. That's how it is. It's how it's been.
Mm.
I don't doubt it.
It's like I don't know. It's really weird that the Pope aspect just makes it sound so much more insane. But the thing is, they
said the Catholic Church.
Well,
The Pope.
The Pope's involved with the Catholic Church.
Yeah, but I'm sure that he wasn't like, bah! I'm sure it was like a bunch of people that were trying to control people into.
Okay, the Catholic Church.
They're sheep.
Whatever. Like they do have a history of like cover-ups and like hiding stuff because power and all that. You know.
They do.
Yeah. But bringing them in just makes it sound absurd. You know, it just makes it like a even more out there conspiracy theory.
I don't know. I think it makes it sound less out there to me.
For me, it sounds more out there on the surface, but when you think about it, like, it makes sense in a way. In a very weird way, it does.
It's a very powerful religion that is kind of like a government. They want to keep people in line and with their ideals and their beliefs. What?
Keep tithing up, you know? We don't want aliens getting a cut of that money.
They need it. They need it.
Yeah.
Yep. They want
the dawn
all the aliens money.
Yep. Alien bucks, space bucks.
Yeah.
Of the atomic age, another major crash recovery took place. You've probably heard of it.
What can you tell me about the Roswell craft?
Fortunately, those details were not approved for me to talk about right now.
This much we know. In 1947, an object crashed in the New Mexico desert near
like
the town of
like,
Roswell.
The
Air Force recovered material described as metallic and rubbery.
Yeah,
no, the government changed its story as to what it was.
It is.
Calling it a flying disc at first, then a weather or spy balloon.
It just read ridiculous to me that the US Air Force had changed its story.
Yeah, and they added additional elements over time and tried to conflate additional programs to explain some of the events.
Why are these things crashing?
Yeah, you know, some are landed, some are crashed, and I think that's an interesting discussion that's come up. You know, as advanced as, you know, we are, you know, as humans, right? You know, planes crash, cars crash. Just because you're some advanced sentience that has advanced technology doesn't mean some small percentage of your, I'll use the Air Force term like sorties, you know, meet an unfortunate operational conclusion, as we might want to say.
What is that?
Most people would tell you the Roswell incident has been thoroughly debunked. In fact, the Air Force published this report in 1994 to put the issue to rest once and for all. Grusch has read it.
That analysis I did was a total hack job.
Yeah,
Even anybody with analytical skills, if you read it, you can deduce that they're conflating multiple situations with crash-test dummies and mogul balloons, and they're just saying that the townsfolk who personally witnessed it were totally imagining things. They concocted that whole report just to disinform.
So the reason for the secrecy exactly is what?
Feudalistic dominance, who can have both asymmetric technology for, it seems like, just fueling the war machine.
Grusch says that through the 50s and 60s, encounters with the NHI continued, as did the cover-up. One incident in 1967, about which multiple Air Force veterans have gone public, involved UAPs tampering with the nuclear missiles at Malmstrom Air Base in Montana.
They saw a craft, appeering to be intelligently controlled, hovered over a nuclear weapons silo and shut down 10 nuclear ICBM missiles.
It certainly looks like they want to understand how far we've advanced in our nuclear fissile kind of technologies at the very least. I mean, it looks like preparatory probing activity. It might be innocent kind of scientific gathering, could be ISR probing.
Meanwhile, Grusch says the crash retrieval program continued. And while he won't reveal where the downed craft are stored, he does say that the people working with the technology have been putting themselves
I want to know where.
Risk.
You know, a lot of them, you know, were...
I guess that's part of my problem with this guy is like he has a lot of credentials, but not a lot to back up his statements, you know?
Right.
Like...
So, yeah, but if you're working for a very powerful government that is capable of hiding massive things from people for hundreds of years, and they're allowing you to live and basically go tell your story because they don't care if you sound crazy. They're not going to give you proof. Like, if you're like, can I have this? Well, no. And is he going to go steal it and then go to jail for the rest of his life? He just wants to get it out there. I get it. I do. And a lot of times it's very hard to even obtain proof and I guess keep it because they have ways of moving and getting around that we don't know. And I don't know. I don't think it makes him any less credible to me. And I can see why it makes him less credible to you, but I get it.
I guess it's just just a broad, the very broad brush statements. Like he's making Roswell's a hack job. Anyone with analytical skills can see it. It's just like very broad talking points without like actually addressing some of it.
Well, it's things that we do know. Yeah, they're covering shit up. Of course, they've always done that, and they're going to keep doing it. But I think his intentions are good. I would want to get it out there too, because I mean,
but like
that's messed up.
It's as a counterpoint. What if I want to get some fame after a 15-year career and say, hey, here's all these things. Here's my credentials.
So
I don't have proof because the government would kill me, and that's my excuse.
Is that not enough of an excuse?
No, but he's using that as no, but he's saying that as an excuse to like give himself credibility, saying, "Oh, I can't give you anything," so he can just make up stuff and then have the excuse. Well, here's why I don't have anything.
You said earlier that his credentials are good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this guy's worked with these people for a long time. He's seen them, and I'm sure he signed NDAs that would state if he ever put it out there, he'd go to prison or he'd be dead, something like that. So if you have any like self-preservation instinct at all, yeah, I get it though. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense to me. Like if I'm having surgery and I have a 15-year doctor saying everything's gonna be fine. By the way, the Pope's gonna kill me in my sleep or something. Then I'll start questioning his credentials. It's like when these. You can't just say everything is like just solely based on credentials. You can't say everything is validated by credentials.
No, you also gotta trust your own instincts, and mine. I do think he's telling the truth, and I think he's doing it because, I mean, how long are we gonna go keep on getting lied to? Probably forever. But if we can do anything to change that and maybe bring some truth to these things we deserve to know about, then yes. No, let's go.
Yeah, so I'm curious because like the credentials things is what makes it iffy for me. Saying, hey, why is he doing it? Okay. But it's not definitive in my eyes. Right. Because he's saying there's these massive conspiracies with the Catholic Church and all that,
But there are. There's so much happening. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not just the Catholic Church. There's so much. I'm not going to go into it because we'll do that later. But there's a lot happening that is specifically for the purpose of these groups coming into power, keeping the power, keeping everybody else in the dark, so they don't take that power away.
Power.
It's been done since the beginning of time. Power. Yeah.
Power.
Exactly. Power.
Yeah.
It's been going on for ages.
Oh yeah, well yeah. There's always like an establishment trying to keep the power from the masses. It makes sense that once you solidify your power, you kind of like dig in with it, refusing to spread it out.
Well, yeah, and I just thought of this. So if I were this guy and I'm doing all this work and stuff, and I've been there for a long time, and I go to wherever, I can't remember exactly what it was he went to try and go see, and they turned him away, I'd be pretty insulted. Like, you don't trust me. I've been working here a long time, and I feel like I proved myself, and you still have to lie to me and hide things from me. I'd be pretty insulted, and I'd have had enough. Definitely by that point.
But that's like a standard for like everyone in the U.S. government, like
sure
compartmentalizing like information, just because like you happen to know this one thing doesn't mean you need to know all the things.
Well, is he brainwashed? No, I don't think he's brainwashed, man. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I he's just trying to get the truth out there. What's happening is completely immoral. It's wrong. You shouldn't be hiding these things from people. It's going to turn out bad, because what we could do is like mentally prepare ourselves, and the people who are staunchly against the things, saying there's nothing out there, it's just us, there's nothing. When and if something does show up, it's going to be a nightmare. Like, if you have just a thought in your head, we're not alone, it's like, okay, maybe it's a little bit easier then, but telling people there's nothing there and we're not lying to you while lying to them is just going to make things worse. So bad.
Yeah, but lying to them is fun.
No.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funnier this way. They'll lose their shit when aliens show up.
Man, people are gonna go insane, like literally insane, and it's gonna suck. If they see something they don't understand, they're gonna break.
That's the funny bit.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. No, I
so funny.
Well, also just look at the counterpoint. What if people knew about this stuff? How does it benefit overall?
They would at least know that it's a possibility, instead of being completely surprised and then having that trauma on top of what's in front of you.
Then aliens become a talking point in the media and politics, saying, "What are you going to do with the aliens?" and all that. It becomes this whole big thing.
People could try to be mentally prepared, at least.
Yeah, but I think you put too much faith in people. People can be really dumb.
Probably, but a lot of people can be fine. Like, oh my God, reading chat. So, Eric, he said, if an alien does show up, what would its intentions be? That's what I'm talking about. Like, if you were able to mentally prepare yourself for a few outcomes, even just a little bit, it would be such a huge help. If, instead something shows up and you're just like, oh my God, what the fuck do I do? And you just stand there and freeze. You can't make a case for yourself. You don't know what to do. And I know that that's kind of a silly argument, but that's just kind of how I see it. People should have the right to know and prepare.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I'm not saying get a bunker, but mentally.
I'm on the side of, let's treat it like an earthquake. We'll deal with it when it happens.
See, that's not right. That's a good point, though, because if you denied that earthquakes existed and then boom, earthquake, what are you going to do? Do you know what it is? No. No idea what's happening. The ground's shaking, your house is falling down, the walls are cracking, your faces are getting smashed, all your artwork, everything. It's all fucked up. And you didn't have time to be like, oh, wow, I should probably, prepare for this. It's a possibility.
I can feel an earthquake. I can see its effects. I haven't heard a UFO who's seen its effects.
If you haven't, I'm saying if you had never seen or heard of an earthquake and somebody goes, oh, there's this thing that somebody's talking about, an earthquake. Oh, the ground shakes. It doesn't exist. No, never, ever. And then it happens.
Yeah, and then it happens. Then I have proof that it happened, and then now I believe.
Cool. Damn it. Why are we friends?
I just want a UFO to cause an earthquake, so I know it's real. Is that so much to ask for?
Right. Well, see, now you are able to mentally prepare yourself for what you're going to ask them for. See?
I feel like you're gonna have people start making bunkers like once they find out aliens exist.
No, I'm not saying go make a bunker. I'm just think about the possibilities. Yeah.
Some people
don't be so surprised if it does happen. It's not that crazy.
I think
he wants to ask aliens for an earthquake.
Yeah, I just want an earthquake. It's that simple. No, but it's I don't know. I understand the thought process behind it. It's like it's prepping. It's
outlandish.
Yeah,
it is a little bit of prepping. I'm not saying go get a bunker, get canned foods or anything. I'm not saying that at all. I think that's a little over the top.
But it's like mentally prepping. It's like
yeah. So if you go in to get surgery, and
it's like a doctor.
You think of the possibilities. Yeah, and you think, okay, it's going to go perfectly. Everything's going to be fine. If something goes wrong and you have to stay in the hospital and you have to get like physical therapy and stuff, that's going to suck unless you went into the hospital, knowing there's a possibility that something could go wrong. Then I feel like it'd be a little bit easier to deal with mentally.
Yeah.
I think that's my point, is dealing with it mentally and having someone say, well, this is a possibility and it could happen. It may not, but it could. That would be a real help. I think that's my problem with it, is people aren't allowed to properly process it.
Well,
for if it ever does happen. I'm not saying it's gonna, but it could, maybe.
well, people can be dumb and do wild things based off very limited information.
Yeah. And even if
imagine the
dumb
panic?
people, yes, I can. I very much can. And even if like the dumb people were allowed to, mentally prep for this too, I'm sure that it would be nuts. But there's always that group that's gonna fuck it up for everyone. But
like,
the people that don't.
Like, can you imagine like aliens get announced and then like your neighbors go out shooting into the sky? like I imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I grew up in Georgia.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So it's like just there's gonna be dumb shit. Like someone's gonna keep like shit fireworks up there to try and take out
terrible.
an alien aircraft.
But, so that's definitely a possibility for sure, 100%. But then there are other portions of the population that will deal with it in a decent way and not make things worse. And that's because those people were told the truth. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So even if it's like minimizing the damage.
You know what?
Yes.
You've convinced me. I want them to announce aliens so I can like say I've been abducted and say I can't go to work today. That's my excuse. Like I want that.
And then you can tell me that I'm right.
Yes, you're right, Indrid. You're right for once.
I know, right?
No, but I understand the idea of it. But I think the counterpoint to like just keeping it a secret from the public has a lot more weight to it, because the public can be really dumb.
Yeah, and I understand that
and
a
also,
lot of the public cannot be trusted with that sort of thing.
And also the idea is like, hey, aliens exist, and we don't know what they're about. It's like you want to reveal it when you have answers. So it's like there's aliens and we don't understand.
Some answers.
They don't have like they don't have enough answers.
They don't have all of it.
They don't have enough answers.
I don't know if I believe that though.
So it's like they announce it and say, "Hey, aliens exist, but we don't understand any of it." Imagine the panic.
Okay, so there's a few possibilities. Well, there's a few possibilities. All right, so yeah, that could cause. I'm not saying, "Hey guys, there's aliens here. We have proof, but we're not going to show it to you. We don't have enough to show it to you yet." Blah. That would cause a horrible, horrible thing. But I think that they're just holding on to it so they can understand it and use whatever they found for their own benefit, which is probably the entirety of it. But I think the rest is to keep the sheep calm. I don't like calling the population sheep.
Wake up, sheeple!
Wake up!
That's what you're saying, basically.
The wolves are here. No, because I know there's a lot of people that do their own research and have accepted that things beyond our understanding exist. I think that's I'm not good at words. I talk and I get my ideas out that way, so just bear with me, okay? I forgot what I was saying. Oops. Shit. I totally forgot. It'll come back. Wow.
Well, then
it's really bad.
I guess we just keep
beyond
going in the video.
I don't know. Yeah, talking's hard. Yeah.
Injured, looking at some of this stuff, you can imagine the nuclear
radiological
biological risk to looking at an unknown, and a lot of them have literally suffered physically because of their service.
But as we know, anyone who's come forward claiming non-human intelligence is behind these incidents has been dismissed as delusional or deliberately deceitful.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
True.
Coming up, new evidence and perhaps new attitudes in a
Yes,
new
that's
age
true.
of UAPs.
The American people need and deserve to know more.
Has the US government changed its tune?
Uh-oh.
Footage
at
captured
that.
by naval aviators
No,
on
they haven't,
military-grade
but
cameras
I would like
that
to think they
defied
have.
all prosaic explanation. Dave Grusch has investigated
This is what I was talking
shot
about.
in
This is what-
2015 off the East Coast by fighter
The Navy
pilots from
pilots.
the USS Theodore Roosevelt. There's an industry of debunkers out there on the web who say, oh, they've got this all wrong. It's a jet exhaust at a distance and the aircraft's turning. Give me an answer on that.
Well, I had some optical engineering experts look at that and the Raytheon AT FLIR system based on the pixel saturation and apparent size. It's certainly something that's not a jet. It might be some kind of natural phenomenon that's quite strange, but it's not as simple as a jet.
He has even stronger opinions about this UAP, now known to history as the Tic Tac, shot in 2004 in the Pacific by aviators off the USS Nimitz.
And the Tic Tac?
It's the shape of a Tic Tac.
Truly anomalous.
What?
Absolutely technical
Wait, is this
vehicle,
Indrid cold?
physical.
The
That's
craft was-
absolutely, something
No.
we can make.
No.
Not of this world.
Most likely.
But
yeah.
actually,
The
pause.
videos will
Yeah.
But okay. You remember in some of the witness statements that a lot of them saw like a long cylindrical, like cigar shaped craft. That shows up a lot. Shows up so much. And,
Yeah.
And I guess calling it a Tic Tac is a little silly, but just shows up a lot, and it's pretty consistent. And people
that's
tend
why
to
I
see that too.
referenced,
It's either the saucer or the.
Let me go back to that.
Tic Tac?
Truly anomalous. Absolutely.
That's why I was like saying Indrid cold, because that happened to be the same thing as like what Darrenberger said was like his ship, Indrid cold ship.
Yeah, it was like a long cigar-shaped object, and yeah, it could. I mean, we could be being visited by, I don't know, only a handful of things, and some of them have the same type of vehicle. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know. It's just very interesting.
Aliens have like different brands of ships, like Toyota, Honda,
could.
Ford,
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Some of them make different vehicles for different purposes, long trips, short trips.
My favorite's the
It's
Tic Tac.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's compact. Guess we're ready to go.
They're ready for road trips.
Gets good mileage
to
too.
crash right into the planet.
Yeah. That's not what happens.
What?
I don't know. Something happens.
Like those crashes, like they're on a safari trip on Earth. They're just like it's a free range tour.
They're touring.
You can just tour around, and some tourists like go wrong and just crash into the planet.
An accident, and it sounds silly, but it's a possibility. If you had the chance to come look at a different race, like kind of like a zoo, right? We're the zoo.
And in that like scope of things, it's not that crazy, like
No,
visiting
it's not.
another planet, seeing the wildlife and all that. It's just you don't expect the wildlife to shoot back at you.
Exactly. So that was the point. That was what I was going to say next. Was these things that crash? If they had gotten spooked and thought that somebody had seen them and that they were being threatened, then you would panic and you might hit something, make a mistake. I think that's definitely a possibility too.
No.
No.
So
Oh, boy.
before we get into that, he's saying that he's basically calling out another scientist as a liar, saying he's not saying anything.
So he says he's known this person for about 8 years. He's got his phone number, and he could follow up with David. He hopes he does the right thing. I'm thinking that this man who is lying and hasn't followed up with David is being paid a lot to stay quiet, or I don't want to get too weird with it, or blackmailed even, or threatened. I don't know. But there's reasoning behind it. It's money, power, or some sort of blackmail.
Oh yeah, he's getting
As
threatened
silly
by
as
the
that
Pope.
sounds.
Oh.
Mhm.
No. It makes sense,
It does though. If you're getting paid a shit ton of money, and you can.
Well, it doesn't even have to be money. It just
it.
have to be like intention. You know, like, oh, he personally believes the public can't hear it or something. You know.
Yeah, if he was doing it for the sake of the public, I get it. But I also like when you want to tell someone that they look bad today, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. It's like, you going to let them go around being oblivious, or are you going to tell them the truth and save them from God knows what, like getting made fun of, or just realizing it later and then feeling stupid? You look bad today.
What are you trying to say? Yeah, that's what I thought. Why didn't you say that before I went out?
It's an analogy. It's an analogy. So if he's trying to save people's feelings, like, that's nice, but he'd probably save some time and a lot of embarrassment and probably, some hurt and of course mistrust.
But what if his idea is that he doesn't want to reveal anything until they know more, you know?
I think they know more than I think they know enough. I do.
You only say that because you want to know now. That's the only reason you're saying
that. No, that's part of it. But also the fact that they have something that is clearly not made by human hands, and it's not made from materials from our world, that's enough. We found something that we're working on. We're going to do some tests on it. There you go. This exists. Hey, great. It's the lying that irritates me the most, I think. And I don't know. They suck.
Well, no, I think you represent a very rational part of like the population that does not represent the majority.
No, it doesn't, and that sucks.
Yeah.
There's so when I talk about this stuff, like with my mom, she believes a lot of the same things that I do. Like, it's very cool. Mm-hmm. But we feel like we're sort of that sounds weird. Feel a little bit lucky to be able to sort of peek behind the curtain where the rest of the population is just fine to have it closed. I don't want to see what's back there. It feels very sad and mean for people to be purposefully closing them in a little room, not letting them out, not letting them see, and just lying.
Well,
sucks.
Doesn't it ruin the magic when you peek behind the curtains, when you want to believe what you're seeing on stage?
Well, not so. No, not really. Not like the way you're saying it. It's more of like satiating that curiosity and learning and looking at things from a different point of view and knowing that we don't know everything. There's so much that we don't know. And it's really stupid to think that we know everything that's going on. And then some people believe that. And I don't think that's right either. It's rude. Yeah. It's very rude, government. Come on.
Yeah.
Stop being rude.
Well, let's figure out how China is beating us in the alien race.
Yeah. I'm very interested in this. I don't know about China, but I'm interested in this story.
And how aliens
movies,
killed
the
people.
aliens are often portrayed as peaceful, even cuddling.
Sure.
Right.
Why'd you show E.T.?
It would be
Why'd
nice
you do
if
that?
that were true, but Mr. Grusch says it's
This
not.
doesn't
The
help
common
the
interpretation
credibility.
from some commentators is that
No.
there is a non-human species, and it's incredibly benevolently well disposed to the human race.
Yeah, and I think that is the logical fallacy there is because they're advanced, they're kind. We'll never really understand full intent in that because we're not them, whatever them is or are. But I think what appears to be malevolent activity has happened based on not only nuclear site probing activities, witness testimony. I think at least if we look at it through a humanistic lens, it does appear negative, at least to us.
I've been told that there have been attempts to bring down craft.
We don't know.
That we've acted offensively against non-human craft.
There have been instances.
Oh, don't do
and
that.
there are,
Oh,
certain
God.
techniques.
Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence?
While I can't get into the specifics because that
Wow.
would reveal certain U.S. classified operations, I was briefed by a few individuals on the program that there were malevolent events like that.
No, I'm scared.
People have just heard you say non-humans may well
I'm
have
not
murdered
scared.
human beings.
It's the
That's
it's the
You're
US
not
that's
scared, but the
going on the
majority.
offense immediately. No, we don't have to be sure. There's a level of fear is always good because then you're protecting yourself and you're preparing. You know, something could go wrong. Yeah, it's possible that whatever it is a threat, but immediately going on the offense and acting out in violence is silly. Okay, if they showed up and they were outwardly aggressive and it was definitely a threat, sure, I can see wanting to protect people, but it doesn't, and maybe that is a possibility of one or a couple of deciding whatever they did, but it just feels like all that our government's going to do is just fucking charge and make them want to be aggressive back immediately.
So what you're
That's not
saying
fair.
is we should kill them so there's no survivors to tell the others.
That's not what I said.
Because we don't
at
want them
all.
we don't
I
want
do
them
not believe that.
aggressive, so we should kill them all
We don't.
before they kill us. For killing
We
them.
don't know they're aggressive, okay? But we should show up being neutral, okay? And not try to kill things immediately. I think that's dumb.
Well, then why am I paying taxes if we're not going to kill things? Come on.
Well, I've got some feelings about that, but that's not what this is for.
I pay taxes every day, hoping they kill aliens with it, like they just shoot into the sky.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
We're not friends anymore.
They're not friends.
That's so mean.
I want them to
No.
shoot missiles into the sky every day, hoping to hit an alien. Yeah.
Well, you're in the right country for it, bud.
No, it's just so some of the money is obviously going into the research of this, and obviously some of it is going into the research of how do we defend against this. The idea of there's something unknown out there is threatening.
It's scary that the fear of the unknown is one of the biggest fears.
So it's honestly, there's money probably getting funneled into some project saying, hey, there's this unknown threat, we have no idea what it's about, do something about it, and they just come up with random ideas on how to do it.
It's what the prep has always been in the past. It's violence, and we're going to show our power and bare our teeth, whatever. But there are other ways to prepare for things and to scope them out and see what's going on. You don't have to bring a gun to every meeting, basically. You're going to meet your new neighbor, but you don't know what they are. You don't know if they're mean or they're going to be nice. So let's just bring a gun. That's really
that sounds good to
counterproductive.
me.
Okay,
No,
that's nice.
It's but it's
Good for you.
it makes sense,
Yeah, it makes sense because that's what they've always done. It's just bring a gun, boom.
No. What you're
We
saying,
win.
what you're saying makes sense.
Okay, cool, good. I'm glad.
I'm trying not to set you off on another rant about
No, I know.
aliens.
I'm sorry, I have a lot of opinions. It is naive to not be prepared to defend yourself. I'm not saying don't defend yourself, of course, but just see if you need the gun first and then put it away. I don't know.
So what you're saying
You can
is
have it with you.
should
Just don't point it at them.
So what you're saying is you should meet your neighbors, and if they piss you off, whip out the
With a
gun.
gun.
Yeah, whip it out.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Don't do
No.
that. I think it is rational to have a way to defend yourself, but to show up pointing the defense at the being is very silly. Very silly.
Right.
It's mean.
No,
So
it
much
makes
rudeness.
sense. No. But the thing is,
Yeah.
it's a number one concern that, hey, these things are visiting us. They're mostly unknown. We need something.
And I get it. Yeah, I do. Fear of the unknown is huge and it's very scary. And when you're scared, you tend to lash out. And that I get it too. That's another thing about mentally preparing.
Yeah.
We all know how I feel about that.
Well,
Anyway.
I'm just saying, instead of mentally prepare, let's prepare a gun.
Okay. All right. I'll bring the brains to it and you can bring the stupid.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
What?
just keep the secret safe. Oh,
Well,
because the human race is at stake. We don't know that.
Well, another thing is I don't really think the USSR treaty is really a point of proof,
No, it's just saying that something similar has happened already.
Yeah, but it's like saying, oh, it's not us, but they're really like flying spy planes over the sites, and
that's possible, yeah.
Yeah, because there was a lot of that spy stuff going on, constantly outdoing each other in stealth technology. So it's like, that seemed like more of a footnote of just like saying, hey, let's just not freak out if there's something over the nuclear facilities, even though we know it's probably just a spy plane from the other side. I don't know.
Yeah.
That seems like a really random footnote to bring out.
I think it's just sort of related, and it could be interpreted as they had both seen something similar and was like, was that you? And no, that wasn't us.
Yeah.
And it could be. I don't know how I feel about that either, because it could not be the case.
Yeah, it's a little bit out there for me.
It's a little bit of a stretch.
It's and also like a past leader signing a document with aliens. That's kind of cliche,
Yeah. No, I don't think they signed it with the aliens. They signed it with the other superpower, saying, if you see somebody flying over that's not us.
Well, no, I'm talking about like some like non-aggression treaty with aliens or something, and that's why we don't see them.
I don't think that's happened. It could, but I don't think so.
No, this part's a little bit too like much of a stretch,
A little bit, yeah. There's always a slight possibility that it is something that's real.
I
we don't know.
I think it's just more of him projecting and theory spinning than really having any knowledge about it.
Well, and then when you don't have the truth, you have to think of these possibilities, and it's going to make you go to weird places like that, It's you trying to think of things that make sense, or things that could possibly be happening, what they're lying to you about, why, and for how long.
Stop going to weird places then.
I can't.
Think about the normal places.
But they're boring. Really boring.
At least I saw substantive evidence that white-collar crime was committed.
Have people been killed to protect the secret?
Based on the people I talked to, that was an ongoing concern. Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard some really un-American things I don't want to repeat right now.
So you have a strong suspicion that people have been murdered to protect the secret?
Over the years, yeah.
Coming up, a reality check.
So just this whole disinformation campaign.
Okay.
Like, let's say he's telling the truth about everything, but he has nothing to really back it up. Is it really information then that can be used? If there's so much different,
it depends on if you believe him or not.
And I guess that's the problem where it comes down to, because it's, if there's so much disinformation and he knows it, why doesn't he bring something to prove, to make his stuff stand out?
Because again, it comes back to your life or your career or your well-being.
Well, his career is fucked.
Threatened.
His career is fucked.
And I think he knows that. I think he's trying to remain completely, not completely fucked is what's happening. I think he's trying to draw the line somewhere so that he's not hunted down and killed or something. I don't know. Killed might be a little much, or put in jail. I think he's sort of got just enough to where they're not going to come after him or whatever. That's sort of the way I see it. I understand that it does sound a little silly. Yeah, he doesn't have that much to show, but if he's not going to be given something to show through the proper government channels or whatever, and they're like, no, what are you going to do? Sneak in, steal it, and then go show it on national TV? No.
Yeah.
Then you're dead, or you're locked up, or both.
But isn't the truth worth it?
I don't. That's up to every person themselves, really. I don't. For me, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd probably find the line somewhere and tell just enough to get what I needed to say out, and then not die or be locked up forever and have my life ruined.
Well, I imagine like if this is all real, like there's hundreds of people involved, you know, I feel like we would get a lot more deathbed confessions, you know, leaking all this information.
Mm, I guess I don't know. I never really thought about that, but I know that there's
Like,
in that in that Bigfoot story, there's the Men in Black come out and they do things to silence people, and some of the things they do are pretty messed up, and then people never talk about them again. In some cases, the children who experienced it, they don't remember it. Like they will never remember it, or you know, it doesn't come back to them until they're in their 50s or so. Whatever they do keeps people silent. Like they're doing stuff. Yeah, not good stuff.
yeah. I don't know. I just, yeah. If he's aware of like this disinformation campaign, maybe not get information on like the truth, but like you don't have to like steal a piece of a fucking UFO and bring it to people, you know. But
Then what are you gonna bring?
What about the evidence that there is a disinformation campaign? You know, like some memos and stuff.
Maybe he's not allowed to do that because then that makes the government look more stupid than they already look.
But like,
and that's another line.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't prove the aliens, just prove that there is like some campaign then at least.
I think we all know that we're being lied to fairly, like a lot.
No,
a lot.
I believe the government and the food pyramid. Speak for yourself.
I am speaking for myself here. I had another thought, but I guess it's gone.
It's gone.
I don't remember.
It's time gone.
Oh well.
Intelligence services of the
It
United
probably
States
wasn't
has the
anything.
information
Wow.
you've got.
Yes.
And more importantly, the Inspector General made a determination about the credibility of your complaint.
They found, after interviewing myself and the subjects and other subjects that I'm not even cognizant on who they were, they found my complaint urgent and credible for the intelligence committees.
The word credible is important, you
Yes.
appreciate. So an official investigatory body of the United States government has determined that your allegations are credible.
Correct.
Coming up, if it is true, then what? What are we going to do if the biggest secret on the planet is now out in the open? And what are they
Nothing.
going to do?
How will the non-human intelligence react?
Nothing.
This is one of the gravest constitutional crises for your country ever.
Absolutely.
Give me some hope here.
Yeah.
There are good people.
There are very good people, and I want that message to be crystal clear. Let's not demonize holistically the U.S. government. There's a whole army of people
Indrid,
that want
don't
change. I
demonize
am one
it.
of
What?
tens, if not hundreds, of
Oh my God.
individuals within the government on these programs that would like a change.
What kind of change does David Grusch want? As he said here tonight, he wants the NHI technology to be shared so the rest of the world can benefit from it.
And I use nuclear weapons or nuclear physics as an example. It's an acknowledged program. We have nuclear weapons, so you don't get to know the designs, but nuclear physics holistically is unclassified. Academia studies it. And why would you suppress basic astrophysics, astrobiology, other hard and soft sciences broadly? It's totally nuts.
Grusch has left the government. He wasn't part of ARROW during the most recent congressional hearings when still more UAP were revealed, including this one captured by a drone in the Middle East in 2022.
There it goes.
His whistleblower case will take months to conclude. In the meantime, he says he's starting a scientific foundation. And he's willing to speak to anyone in Washington who has the clearance and the desire to
Nice.
hear the classified information he could not share here.
I make myself available to Secretary Austin, DNI Haynes, who was a recipient of my complaints. I'm happy to further brief elected officials on the specific ecosystem of secrecy down to the fine details.
Whoever they are. How will the non-human intelligence react to the revelation that human beings now know they're here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the non-human intelligences have been around for a while, at least multiple decades in modern history, and they've allowed ourselves to annihilate ourselves, genocide, war, famine, etc.
At
So at
least.
the very least, I think they're kind of neutral on what humans decide to do with their free will.
And as for how we, the human race, will react to his story, here Grusch evinces that quintessentially human characteristic optimism.
I don't have this utopian ideology that this is going to, solve world problems, stop war entirely. But all I want is a moment of pause and to see if the subject unites us, as we've obviously become more divided over the last couple decades.
Because, if anything else, what you're revealing may mean we all
That's
start
not
thinking of
gonna
ourselves
happen, though.
not as
No.
American, Australian, Russian,
Nah.
Chinese, but as human.
Human family, I think
As
that's
humans.
totally the right term, yeah.
Oh, Fast and Furious was right. It's all about family.
Are
I
you
don't
essentially
think
calling
that
David
will
Grusch
ever
a liar?
happen. But it's
No, I
nice
think he
thought.
seems to actually believe what he's saying. But
Oh,
the clip
and
you just
that's
played
kind
there.
of like the end of his aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Okay. I wanted to point out that Decepticon and I are here because it's just two sides of the spectrum. This guy could be stretching the truth and stuff. It's just I've always found it really interesting that secrets are being kept, and I think these things are very probably out there. And with a lot of the stuff I believe in, I gotta say, you just take it with a grain of salt. There's probably definitely some truth in there, and that's how this started. But it's just two different opinions right now.
Well, I mean, there's like a shit ton of things I want to believe, but it's just too out there to be believed right now. But it's like,
and I get it.
But I'm not even saying, oh, the government's 100% truthful. Like, there's a ton of secrets that they keep from the general public and from each other internally. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if there's things like the president doesn't know, like, because the CIA is running some ops or something. It's like there's a bunch of different things happening all the time. It's all
there's so many possibilities for everything.
There's too many moving pieces.
So many.
But at the same time,
a
guy coming out here and saying aliens exist without much backing it, besides some ounce of credibility, like his background does lend him some credibility, and his motives are suspicious as to why he would do this. But I don't think it's the fine. It's not like the magic bullet to prove everything he's saying,
No, it's not. It's not. No, of course not. It would be silly to say that it was. I think that for me, the proof comes with the fact that he was in these projects and these organizations and stuff, and he's seen these things, he's worked with them, he knows things, and he knows what he can and can't share that will endanger him. And again, he could be stretching it. I could be getting duped right now, and that's fine. But I don't know. I believe this stuff, and there's so much. No, I don't.
You want to be duped?
I don't feel like I am.
You're gonna look dumb in front of the aliens if you get fooled by this man.
But then that would mean there are aliens, and then I wasn't being dumb, right?
No.
Right.
It's I think there's parts of it where it's believable, and then the other parts are just like very outlandish, like the treaties, the foreign governments. There's a lot of things out there that I think he began very grounded, and I was more willing to believe him.
I think part of that was the interviewer.
Part of it is that, but it's like it felt like the further he went along and the less he could really say.
There's not much he could say without getting ruined.
Exactly, and the problem is it leads to well, how dedicated is he to this whole thing?
How much do you want to live a normal life, or do you want
to
go down?
I don't want him to live a normal life. I want him to live the worst life possible. I just care about the aliens. Give me aliens.
I mean, would you sacrifice your whole life just to tell everyone that something exists, and it does, and that's this is a scenario, and then
I'd sacrifice
more than half
his
of them
life
don't believe you, and more than half of them don't believe you, and you're done for.
I'd sacrifice his life for it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's mean. That's mean.
Hey, I am curious. I am very curious. So yeah, I'd sacrifice his life for it. Yes.
Oh my god. I mean, I think if I were to do what he's doing, I think it would be in a very similar way, because I'm not going to risk my whole life so that a bunch of people just won't believe me.
But think of the people who will believe you.
What, all 10 of them?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I definitely understand why he's doing it the way he did. I don't think the interviewer helped very much.
No, the interviewer really
he said it.
Didn't, like the interviewer actually like hurt his credibility.
Yeah, it did a little bit. A little bit.
But also the guy kind of like at first he seemed a little bit more grounded, because he does like he really leaned into his expertise, his like his background. But the further and further he went along with it, it's like he probably shouldn't be answering those questions, which makes me think, he might be he might be doing it for some attention, you know.
And that's possible as well, but I think also the interviewer may have known there are things that he probably can't tell us, and if I get it out of him, that's going to be great for me, but also it might make him look dumb. Like the interviewer might have his own beliefs about it, and
but the thing is, as an interviewee, you should come prepared to expecting those questions, you know, and a potential perspective how it looks.
And then that's the mental preparation aspect, but I think he went into it knowing that it was going to sound a little out there too. So
well, and also something that I think actually like kind of hurts his credibility is setting up that scientific foundation. That
was a little odd.
That's like, that's weird. He's promoting his foundation now. It gives him a motive to why he's doing this, you know.
Yeah. I know. And again, it's grain of salt, and take everything how you're going to take it. I'm not here to really convince anybody. It's fun to talk about, and it's interesting to hear what other people believe, for sure.
I think we should wrap up a bit. Final thoughts. Do you believe the guy? Do you
I think for the most part, I do.
Any parts that come out like suspicious that you just don't believe?
I don't know specifically. I just parts of it. I can't really say specifically what parts, because I just can't. I don't know. There are parts that do feel a little stretched. The scientific foundation sort of rubbed me the wrong way, and I do sort of believe a lot of it. I'm not going to go like gung ho, like, be my leader. I want you to tell me where to go and tell me all these things that I don't know. I'm just going to believe you. It's just stuff that I already believed. And if there's a possibility that this guy is for real and they're hiding some major truths, it's just interesting. And I'm not saying, here's the truth, you got to believe it. I don't know that. I don't know that. Yeah. What about you?
I guess like this whole thing, I don't believe him, but most of it, I think he's seen some shit though. Like he obviously worked on this very specific pair of intel with UFO, just UAPs and all that, you know. I think he's seen some shit, but I really doubt it's what he's saying. I feel like this is more of a publicity stunt. Like I was iffy. It seemed very like somewhat grounded at the very beginning, but as it moved on and on, it was like, okay, I'm doubting this. And then when we got to the scientific foundation, I started finding like a motive. Like, okay, I'm sorry. There's like a post government tour kind of thing to like drum up his next big thing.
He could be doing it for the right reasons also, you know. Never know.
He could be maybe he's forming a like an A team to break in and get alien technology. Who knows?
That'd be cool too.
I don't know. I really doubt it, but overall, like I think I'm more open-minded, just not from him, but just like our general conversation about it. Like I feel like I've been introduced to other topics about UFOs, just discussing him, but
Yeah.
not him himself. I just don't know what he's up to.
We don't know him either, so
So I think
that's another thing.
I think he opened up good conversation, but he himself is very doubt. I really doubt him and question his motives. I don't know. He's making an A-team to steal technology and kill aliens. I don't know.
It's a possibility. And then someone asked, is it that you want to believe him? These are things that I already have pretty strong beliefs about. And I think the way I explained it is he could be lying, but if there's even a slight chance that there is some truth to this, and we may find out one day, that's great.
Well, to be fair, I want to believe him. It's just I don't. It's because it's like a lot of things I shit on and I joke around about. It's like I want to believe it, but it's just the skeptical side of me. It's just I can't believe it.
And I'm less skeptical, I guess. That's the difference.
Oh, you're more open to the idea that there's something beyond our understanding. I won't say less skeptical, but you're just more receptive of it. You know.
I'm just more smart.
Oh, okay.
I'm just smarter.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Final thing. Do you believe in aliens? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Are you in a psychosis?
No.
Are you possessed by a demon?
Not that I know of.
Are you being blackmailed by the Pope?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I mean aliens are real then. Come on. That line of questioning was so bad.
Proof.
That question. Proof.
Yeah,
that line of questioning was so bad. Like, I mean, it would. I thought they were going to bring in like his therapist or like someone that's done tests.
I know.
But
poor guy.
Just asking him, "Are you mentally ill?" Him responding no is like the funniest. It's like unintentionally funny.
I know. Poor guy. I mean, ugh.
That just killed the credibility of his like interview.
Yeah, that was a little rude.
Yeah,
a little rude of the interviewer.
The interviewer should be asking like his doctors that if he allowed his doctors to respond.
Okay.
Well, no, it's like the same thing with Derenberger. You know, like he actually met with doctors that determined that he wasn't under some sort of mental break or psychosis. You know, I feel like if David allowed his doctor to speak on his medical case, the interviewer should be able to.
That would add a paper thin layer on top of his already doubted credibility. It's like, okay, your doctor said this, but how do we know? Can we see your brain? Can we see the things that you've seen?
No, but
it's just a very
better
thin
than asking
layer.
the question, "Are you mentally ill?" and your answer is just no, like without anything any professional backing it up. If anything, it would have been better just to avoid the question altogether. You know, saying, "Hey, is this guy credible?" and then your question is, "Are you mentally ill?"
Yes.
The best.
Yes, no, I mean no.
The best way was to not ask the question at all. But if you're going to ask the question, you might as well have a doctor or some professional doing the review or giving you some credibility.
Yeah. It was a little unfair, and there's a lot that could be stretched, but it's more of us talking about our opinions, not saying I found truth. That would be really silly of me to say.
I just want to state a fact that he was lying the whole time. Okay. Nothing was true. And I can confirm that. Believe me.
Yeah. Anyway, probably a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah,
maybe
that's it. We gave our final thoughts. We're done. Let's call it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Night.
So I guess next week we'll talk about something else. We don't know what it is yet, but there'll be something.
We'll find something. There's always something. Yeah, let's just call it.
And remember, the truth is out there.
That's so